Well, back here in the Valley, many have a lot to say about the president's national health plan. In fact, today at the Atomic Testing Museum, many Democrats helped to kick off Healthcare Week of Action with Organizing for America. Now, it's all about showing support for healthcare reform to make quality, affordable healthcare available for all Americans. Still, many say it won't happen unless people fight for it.
It's one thing to elect a leader, it's another thing to help that leader bring about the change that we've all talked about as Americans, and specifically as Nevadans.
For more information about how you can get involved in this effort, be sure to log on to our website at ktnv.com and click on this story on our homepage, or simply blog about the issue. We want to hear from you, whether or not you're for or against Obama's health care plan.
America is telling everyone in Washington that healthcare reform needs to happen.
This week marks the beginning of Healthcare Week of Action all across the nation.
We're specifically talking today about President Obama's 3 principles for healthcare reform.
Megan Gardner is the state director with Organizing for America, a support group for President Barack Obama, and on Saturday they went knocking on doors in Huntington. The topic? His 3 principles to healthcare reform: reduced cost, guaranteed choice, and quality care for all.
We're going to 15th Street. We've got 2 houses there. Bonnie
Marquis is one of those volunteers and says for the most part, people show an optimistic outlook.
Most Americans are in support of it. They see right in front of them that, you know, they're just one pink slip away from losing their health insurance.
But to help prove her theory, she took to the streets and started knocking. And her response was 50-50. Some against.
This is not one we're behind.
Okay, thank you. That was a resounding no.
And some for.
Is that something you think you support?
Yeah.
Great.
Marquis credits politics of fear for those who are against it, saying people who already have health care are afraid to lose it. But she says that's not the case.
We're not trying to take away your choices, we're trying to give you choices. If you don't have health care, you have no choice.
In Huntington, Bryant Somerville, Eyewitness News.
Democrats look to rally support in Green Bay for changes in the health care system. Some say a government plan will lower costs and cover more people, but Republicans have concerns. Fox 11's Robert Hornacek brings us multiple views.
Is the time now?
Dozens of people gathered at the Harmony Cafe in Green Bay Sunday to rally support for changes in the nation's healthcare system.
We need a change, and we need a big change.
Reed Hardy says healthcare needs to be more affordable and available.
People who say we have the best healthcare system in the world are the rich people who can afford to take care of themselves.
I thought that the most frightening experience in my life was having cardiac arrest.
Mary Jo Gordon from Seymour says healthcare needs to be available for everyone. She went without health insurance for a year because she had a pre-existing condition.
It put me into a state of panic, and every single time I'd have a little twinge. All I could think about was, how am I going to pay for this?
The event was organized by the Democratic Party of Brown County and Organizing for America, a group dedicated to pushing President Obama's agenda.
The status quo is unacceptable.
Dan Grandoni says healthcare is one of the cornerstones of the president's vision for the country.
Something has to change, and we believe, and all kinds of people throughout the state believe, that it has to start with health care.
While Democrats are hoping for some major changes in health care, some Republicans say they have concerns.
The question is, how can we afford to pay for it?
Vern Krawcheck is with the Republican Party in Brown County.
The biggest concern I would have, and that is the quality of care you're going to get once you get on it.
Democrats disagree. They say the plan will reduce costs and increase quality. In Green Bay, Robert Hornacek, Fox 11 News.
Organizing for America is also planning similar events this week in Milwaukee, Madison, and other parts of the state.
The battle for health care reform is heating up on Capitol Hill, but a grassroots effort for reform is happening right here in the Valley. Today, members of the Hispanic community gathered in Phoenix to meet with a group called Organizing for America. The group wanted to hear from the Valley's Hispanic population, struggling to get quality, affordable health care. They heard from Claudia Schultz, whose husband was diagnosed with cancer, but a week before his surgery, she was laid off and they lost their health care.
Just because you have insurance or because you have an employer, you're not secure. You can get fired or laid off any moment, or you might need to quit if you're sick.
About 35% of the Valley's Hispanics aren't insured, and 1 in 10 Hispanic children don't have access to coverage.
As the president steps up his attempts to reform health care, local supporters take to the streets. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Liz Dewicki. Joel Fike has the night off. Well, although President Obama is pushing for an August vote on health care reform, some groups in mid-Michigan, they're already at work on the issue. ABC 12's Matthew Smith has more from our newsroom.
The group is looking for support of the president's call for health care reform. That means signatures, and a whole lot of them to send to Congress. The hope is to show them that Americans are concerned.
All we're doing is supporting the president in his call to do something.
This is Mary Putnam. She got involved with this when she met with others with similar interests while working for Organizing for America. On Saturday, she and a group of volunteers went to Myers and Flint looking for support for health care reform.
Doing nothing is not an option. If we do nothing, the costs are just going to continue to skyrocket, and there's going to be more and more people without insurance. And that's just not acceptable.
Not everyone agrees. For proof, just take a look at Capitol Hill.
The president and some Democrats insist we must rush this plan through. Why? Because the more Americans know about it, the more they oppose it.
Now is certainly not the time to lose heart. Make no mistake, if we step back from this challenge at this moment, we are consigning our children to a future of skyrocketing premiums and crushing deficits.
On Friday, 2 key House committees approved legislation that would make sweeping reforms and expand coverage. However, the overhaul is still far from being done, leaving some, like Mary Putnam, hoping for change.
They know we're interested, and they know we're thinking, and they know we're getting educated. We're educating ourselves, and we're helping educate other people. They're going to do a much better job than if we're not involved.
If you would like to learn more about Organizing for America's take on health care, you can do so this week. On Thursday, the group will meet at the University of Michigan Flint for a community forum. That information is on your screen. Reporting in the newsroom, Matthew Smith, ABC 12 News.